I was called back the next day to be told that no one will be bothered by her again, and her views did not align with those of corporate, and they apologized even more, and guess what? Sent us out even better coupons for better meals. When this channel gets bigger, I will do a giveaway for some of the first subscribers, so you better subscribe now to not regret it later. You want to be rude and racist to people that's trying to help you, now you can enjoy having half of a roof over your head. I own a small home improvement company. I do alright for myself, but for some reason my family thinks I'm rich. They don't realize that I'm saving money for all 4 of my kids to go to college, and I have 12 employees to take care of. All my money is tied up. The roof on my aunt's house was in deplorable condition. Last July my grandmother talked me into fixing it for free. It wasn't an easy job either. It's a 12/12 pitch, 3 layers thick, with cedar shake on the bottom. Normally I would charge $15k for this type of job, but I'll let my grandmother talk me into it. I asked my employees to volunteer their only day off that week. To my surprise, all 10 of my laborers decided to show up. They all refused to clock in. They told me my family is their family, and for family they only charge cerveza, beer. Honestly, I was humbled by their generosity. As soon as we get to my aunt's house we start setting up, and my guys started playing the radio. They was listening to some very Mexican music. Then my trashy ass cousin decided she was going to go outside and start yelling at these guys about the music, and had them turn it off. About an hour later, my cousin came outside again to tell these guys to put their shirts on, because she felt like it was inappropriate for her 8-year-old daughter to see a man working with his shirt off. After the tear off was done and we installed a new roof deck, I went out and got a couple buckets of chicken and a few cases of beer. Everyone was standing in the yard eating chicken and drinking beer, talking and joking around and having a good time. Then my cousin decided to come out yet again. This time she's complaining about everyone drinking on the job. This time I pulled her to the side and reminded her that these guys were doing a $15,000 job for free. I flat out told her she needs to shut the fuck up and get back in the house. That's when she decided to slap me across my face. Right away I called the police and had her arrested. After the police drove off with her in handcuffs, my aunt completely lost her shit. She started screaming at me and then threatened to call ICE on my employees. She told me I should be ashamed of myself for not hiring legal American citizens. I told my crew to pack up their shit and hit the road. They are nicer than me because they went up and tarped the roof off before they left. About 2 days later, I sent my aunt a text message stating that I expect a sincere, well-written apology letter for all of my employees if she wanted her roof finished. About a week later I was served a subpoena by the police. My aunt was suing me for damages. I explained the whole situation to the judge and showed her the message that I sent my aunt requesting a simple apology letter, to which the judge fully agreed on my behalf. My aunt was ordered by the court to write 10 sincere apology letters to my employees before I finish her roof. She still hasn't wrote those letters, and she still doesn't have a roof. Don't like homeless people in your fast food restaurant? Let's send a few hundred. So a bit after college I took a part-time volunteer position at a community shelter helping the area's homeless. I was a caseworker. Basically we met with everyone once a week and make sure they are doing what they need to. Job interviews, saving money because the ultimate goal is to get them into their own place. My job was to make sure they had everything they needed: bus passes, help with resumes, teach them about bank accounts, help them open one once they found a job, etc. Work with local salons to get them free haircuts for work, etc. Really cool local community shelter that wasn't just a place to sleep each night. If they got in, we helped with everything and had a computer lab and classes etc. for Zooms and interviews. So I'm the point of contact for kind of all their issues. I'm not a therapist, but they opened up to me a lot and asked for help or what I could do to help them, and that was my job. Connecting them with people or resources they needed. Over the course of about a month I keep hearing the local McDonald's down the road, like half a block away, is routinely asking people in my caseload to leave, not come back. They don't need homeless people begging here. I was pretty shocked, and we provide everything. It might not be the best food, but we make sure they eat 3 solid meals a day. It really messes with them for a place to discriminate against them, and I definitely wasn't happy. I go down to talk to the local manager and sure enough she doesn't want them in there. Not because they don't buy stuff, they definitely do, but she just seems to not like homeless people. Well, my position has me reach out to corporations, local businesses and such to seek donations of services or goods to help these people. So I went ahead and reached out to McDonald's corporate. I outlined what we do, gave them numbers, and we actually really do manage to help the majority of people that stay in our shelter obtain employment and an apartment. Told them a lot of people that go out for interviews don't manage to make it back for meal times, and if they would be ever so willing to help us by providing vouchers or something to get these people a meal while they are out, it would help a lot. McDonald's corporate and the PR person I began working with really liked this idea and wanted to help us, so they sent us a ton of never expiring coupons. They wanted me to provide other shelters information so they could reach out and help there also. When I say they sent a lot, I mean a few thousand coupons. More than we could reasonably use in 2 to 3 years, and I was told when we need more just shoot them an email or a phone call. So what did I do? Began giving coupons out with bus passes to people going for haircuts, interviews, work, everything. I sent more people to that McDonald's than ever went there before. She continued to be fairly rude to everyone and scrutinized the coupons to the point she turned a few away. Big mistake, lady. I called my corporate PR contact and told them the program is working great, but the local manager is discriminating against the homeless who have a valid coupon. One thing large corporations hate is when local managers go on power trips and get in the way of their efforts to help people, especially when it's great PR and almost costs them nothing. I was called back the next day to be told that no one will be bothered by her again, and her views did not align with those of corporate, and they apologized even more, and guess what? Sent us out even better coupons for better meals. Never did hear from anyone I was working with again about her. No idea where she went, or what the local franchise did with her. Pretend you like me to get taken out on expensive dates? I'll trick you into paying. For context, my family is in a very fortunate position financially, and I would describe myself as upper middle class. This story happened a few years ago when I was at university. It was a fairly small university, so many of the students lived locally in a generally very working class area. I also have a twin brother who goes to a different university nearby, who has a small part to play in this story. I had never really had much luck with dating due to having some pretty niche hobbies and interests, so it was hard to find people I can relate to and really click with, but I would always get on and remain friends with people if things didn't work out. I ended up dating a few girls on the uni netball team. They all seemed nice, but again, it was clear we were not a great match. Because I stayed on good terms with everyone, I ended up spending a lot of time around the people I had previously dated, but just as friends. Consequently, most people on the netball team were familiar with me. Enter the greedy girl, Gigi. She was a bit of an outlier in the team and didn't speak much, so nobody knew much about her. One day, she comes up to me and asks me out on a date. This was a nice surprise as I was normally the one asking, so I said yes, as I had no reason to dislike her at this point. After I say yes, we chat for a bit, and she keeps trying to shoehorn into conversation the fact that she, like many others around here, doesn't have a lot of money. I didn't really think about it too much at the time, but in hindsight it was obvious. To keep the story short, I won't explain the dates. We went on 3 before I realized how greedy she was. All you guys need to know is that I paid for everything on every date, but I didn't mind doing this. We normally went out on weekends. One day I went to the library to get some work done. The desks have tall partitions between them for independent work, but whispering was still allowed in this area. Over the partition in front of me, I hear Gigi's voice whispering to a friend. I begin to stand up to say hi, but stop myself to listen to their conversation just before my head emerged over the top. She was talking about me, calling me things like a posh C***NT, but saying she was going to let me take her on a few more dates because I took her to fancy bars and bought her expensive drinks. I thought about it and realized that she had always gone for the most expensive drinks on our dates so far, so I decided it was time for some revenge. I left the library without being seen. A few days later I actually saw her driving a brand new BMW Z4, so she was clearly pretty damn rich herself. The best and fanciest bar in this town was owned by my best friend and her family. It was a small bar, but very high end, with some of the drinks being over £15 for a very small drink. Therefore, not many of the students went in, but if you were invited there on a date, it was a special one. I spoke to my friend, whose family owned the bar, and got her in on my plan for revenge, ensuring she would have my back if things went wrong. I was pretty paranoid about getting caught because I planned on tricking Gigi into paying for everything that night, up to a total of the cost of all the previous dates combined, in excess of £250. To cover my tracks, I asked my twin brother if he wanted to go out with my friends to the pub, telling him my plan, and that I would give him some money if he went out dressed like me and with his hair styled the same. I also told him to take plenty of pictures with my friends, so I had an alibi. The night of the date came around. The bar was busy, but we managed to get a table. I immediately lied to her, saying I had forgotten my card, but if she paid I could transfer her the money later. She agreed. I had done this for real on the second date, and paid her back as soon as I got home, so she knew I was reliable. I told her to stay sat down and save the table while I went and ordered drinks and the biggest and fanciest tapas plate on the menu from the bar. My friend, pretending she didn't know me, as agreed, served me the drinks. Gigi seemed to be in disbelief of my generosity and pretended that she was having one of the best dates of her life. I also pretended to be enjoying it, continuing to buy expensive food and drink until I had nearly spent the target £250 on her card. The dessert section of the bar's menu is titled Just Desserts. Finding this oddly appropriate for my revenge, I asked her if she wanted her just desserts. Pointing at the menu, she laughed and said yes, so I went up to the bar once again with her card and ordered 2 of the super deluxe chocolate fudge cakes. I told my friend to keep one for herself for when her shift ends, and if they could write F***CKU on top of Gigi's. The bar has candles with letters on for birthdays etc. I then returned to Gigi, handed her card back, and told her I was going to the gents bathroom. I left, never repaid the money, and went to join my mates and brother at the pub. Gigi confronted me in front of the netball team a few days later, but I just acted confused, telling her I was out with my friends that night, and showed her the selfies my brother had taken with my mates. When she tried to argue with me, the entire netball team took my side and stopped speaking to her. Gigi has since left the netball team, and from what I can tell I don't think she has many friends now. I had a fantastic night of revenge with fine food and drink at her expense. My friend got a fudge cake, my brother got some money, and all the lads got to go to the pub. All in all, I found it super satisfying, as everyone but Gigi was happy.